This prison is officially listed in the Guinness World Records. And yet, at first glance, it looks more like a garden shed than a place of punishment. Hidden on a tiny island in the English Channel, this is the smallest prison in the world, and one of the strange. Just off the coast of Normandy lies Sark, a miniature island in the Channel Islands archipelago. Only around 600 people live here. There are no cars, no streetlights, and very few tourists. When night falls, Sark becomes something extraordinary. In 2011, the island was declared Europe's first dark sky community, meaning the sky is so free of light pollution that you can see the stars clearly with the naked eye. Peaceful, quiet, almost timeless. And right in the middle of this calm island stands a prison. Built in 1856, this small stone building with a barrel-shaped roof sits casually next to the island's tourist center. It has a solid green door, thick stone walls, and none of the intimidating atmosphere you'd expect from a jail. Inside there's a narrow corridor and just 2 cells. One measures about 6 by 8 feet, the other even smaller, 6 by 6. There are no windows. Barely enough space for a bed and a bench. This is not a place for long-term punishment. Despite its size, the prison is still fully operational, but it's almost never used. Sark doesn't keep dangerous criminals. Serious crimes are handled on the nearby island of Guernsey. Instead, this prison mostly serves one purpose: a temporary holding place for drunk locals, tourists, or seasonal workers, just for the night until they sober up and go home. Law enforcement here is just as unusual as the prison. The island is policed by only 2 main figures: a constable, the senior officer, and a vingtenier, elected every year. Each year, the vingtenier becomes the new constable and a new assistant is elected. There's also a deputy constable who handles paperwork and daily tasks. Simple, local, personal. Sark itself is a political curiosity. It's a self-governing British Crown dependency, part of the bailiwick of Guernsey, with its own parliament, constitution, and laws based on Norman law. Until 2008, Sark was still run under a feudal system. The island was ruled by a seigneur, a feudal lord, a title dating back to 1563, when Queen Elizabeth I appointed the first seigneur of Sark. Even more remarkable, over the last 4 centuries, 3 women ruled the island as dames of Sark. Only in 2008 did Sark hold its first democratic elections, filling 28 seats in its parliament. The original prison on Sark was built in 1588 near the church. Most criminals weren't jailed at all. They were punished at the pillory, publicly shamed in front of the community. Only a few unlucky offenders were locked up, usually for no more than 2 days. One of the earliest known prisoners was a young servant girl. Terrified of the dark, she was sentenced to 3 full days in a windowless cell for stealing a handkerchief from her employer. Knowing she wouldn't escape, the locals showed mercy. They allowed her to sit by the open door on a chair. Local women sat with her, knitting, talking, keeping her company, until her sentence was over and she was finally free. Even punishment on Sark was human. But Sark's most famous criminal was anything but ordinary. In 1990, André Gardes, a French nuclear physicist, became one of the island's most infamous figures, and possibly the last person to truly disturb its peace. Gardes believed he was the rightful seigneur of Sark, so he decided to invade the island. Alone. The day before the invasion, he sailed to Sark and posted notices everywhere, explaining his plan in detail, including the time and place of the attack. Naturally, this gave the island plenty of time to prepare. The next day, Gardes returned, armed with a semi-automatic rifle. But instead of chaos, he found calm. A local officer approached him, casually complimented his weapon, and struck up a conversation. When Gardes relaxed and showed the rifle more closely, the constable punched him in the nose and dragged him straight to the prison. The smallest prison in the world had just stopped an invasion. A year later, Gardes tried again. This time he was recognized before even stepping onto the island. He was arrested immediately and handed over to French authorities, ending his bizarre campaign once and for all. Today his weapon is displayed in the Sark Museum. Sark remains peaceful, quiet, and wonderfully strange. A place without cars, without streetlights, with its own laws, its own traditions, and a prison so small it barely feels real, yet powerful enough to stop an invasion.